Hi, everybody. This is Jeff Stein from Plan Giving Marketing. As always, I am joined by my good friend and colleague, Greg Wilson. Greg is the Senior Major and Plan Giving Officer at Good Shepherd Rehabilitation Hospital in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And this is another in our series of PSAs, practical solution announcements, focusing on helping you market your Plan Giving program more effectively. I have ranted myself over the past several weeks, particularly with the appeals from colleges and alma maters. My alma mater, my wife's, where my kids go to school. We need money for the kids. We need money for the kids. We need money for the kids. And I'm like, but you were in the middle of a semester, right? The money was in the coffers. You had a budget. Why do you keep asking for money for the kids? My kids are at home. I'm feeding my kids, right? Like, what's going on? And I don't mean to look at it very, very selfishly, but it's like you keep asking for money and I have no idea why you need the money. And I was, talking to one of our clients in higher ed, who we have a great relationship with. And I felt comfortable saying, like, you're a well-endowed college. You crank out very, very successful alumni. Your fundraising efforts are very, very strong. Yet here you are generically asking for money for the kids, and I'm not feeling it. Like, I don't get it. And she revealed, she's like, well, it's kind of hard to, you don't realize it when things are going normally, but when things aren't operating normally, you don't realize the number of kids who work in on-campus jobs as a mean of supporting themselves. You don't realize how many kids are on campus who are otherwise homeless, whether they came out of a foster system and now they're adults and they're out of the foster system and their dorm room is their home, or the kids who have traveled from foreign countries who can't afford to fly back and forth halfway around the world. And if they could afford, aren't even sure if they leave, if they'll have the opportunity to come back and finish the college, finish the program that they've invested 2 or 3 years in already. And I was like, wow. Well, when you tell those stories, asking for money doesn't seem so off-putting anymore. As a matter of fact, you just gave me she just gave me 3 or 4 real tangible examples of how the university could really use help taking care of kids that the university does not have the means to take care of because of these circumstances. Yet those stories never make it into the marketing. They never make it into the messaging. And I don't think it's because anybody is trying to keep it a secret. I think it's because organizations, as you just described, are coming to the realization that things are very, very different now than they are under normal circumstances. And they're just beginning to be able to explain what that looks like to people who aren't there on a daily basis, right? So, we talk a lot about, in our marketing, focusing on the mission, having the donors, say in their own words why they did what they did and what impact they want to have. But now I'm beginning to realize that we even need to do a better job talking about the opportunity to have an impact, because most people don't realize what goes on day to day. And as you've just described, the people who are in their day to day are now only beginning to realize how different things are going to be moving forward, and how budgets of the past don't address the reality of the present and the future. And it's going to be up to us as fundraisers and marketers to make our donors aware of what's really going on and appeal to their emotions to get them to help us in ways that we've never asked them to help us before. So even though we kind of ran into this with, an open-ended conversation, we kind of merged to this point where things are going to be very, very different. And our donors really don't understand what that is. And I think it's our job as marketers and fundraisers to fill them in and tell that story. Because if they don't understand the story, if they don't understand the impact, they're not going to be compelled to help you meet your budgets.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. It's that intersection of being evergreen and yet specific stories kind of deal. If your marketing focuses more on your mission, it's easy to then just go into, well, hey, how is the new normal of today impacting our mission, and how does it change our mission delivery kind of deal? So you're not changing, you're not coming back out and going, hey Jeff, give us a gift because of COVID, but you're like, okay, well, there's 100,000 other people that are asking me for a gift because of COVID. You could now say, in our case, again, to pick on Good Shepherd in a good way, like, this is Good Shepherd, this is our mission, and this is how the mission delivery has changed because of, what those new normals are. And like you said, and even fully wrapping it around everything we've talked about, this is just to find those people, like you said, that are going to say, hey, that's something I could get behind. That's something that I find really cool. Like, to again say my 2 cents here, like, marketing's job is to make my target list smaller, like, so that I don't have 500 people to call. I only have 5 people that I need to call that I know I'm going to have a good conversation with, who are then, lead to a gift. It kind of comes back to, some of the calls that I've had over the last couple of weeks, that I've been fortunate enough that I've either known the right people, or that they've self raised their hand and said, hey, you know what? I know you guys are going through some extra challenges right now. What can we help with? What can we do? And then it's me just putting those puzzle pieces together. But unless there's that message that's going out that's saying, hey, don't forget, this is Good Shepherd's mission. In this case, things have changed on how we deliver that. Nobody's going to know to raise their hand and to say, hey, like, we've talked about this letter before, but we did an informational sort of soft ask letter that, as I joked, more than paid for its postage within the first couple days or so, because people said, oh my gosh, I never thought about these changes that are going on. And all we literally did was just go through and say, okay, here's what Good Shepherd's facing. We're still about providing compassionate care to those that need it most, especially in the traumatic, non-traumatic brain and spinal cord injury, as long as our long-term care. And just, that's what we're still focused on. There's everything else going on, but this is still our core mission. And like I said, first couple of days, it paid for it, well, more than paid for itself kind of deal. So it's, it all comes back to putting it out there and helping people to say, hey, that's what I believe in, and raise their hand.
And I would say it's marketing's job to plant the seed in that donor's head that there is a problem that their philanthropy can fix. And I would take it one step further to say that the more specific that you can get about any one particular problem, the better chances you have of, again, ringing the bell with that donor and planting the seed in other donors' heads about other things that they had not thought about that they could have an impact on. So we give the example of new technology for patient communications as one thing. And you might argue, or somebody might argue, well, that's only going to appeal to the people who find technology and patient communications to be a problem worth solving. But I would argue that would trigger the imagination of somebody else who has no interest in technology or patient communications to realize that there may be other very, very specific areas of need where they have an interest and a desire to have an impact. That, going back to your fund appeal letter by committee, that through the process gets so watered down that in the end it says and asks for nothing in particular, you run a greater risk of being completely generic than being incredibly specific, because again, you're going to be able to appeal to that handful of people for whom that specific appeal is of interest, but you're also going to get other people to start thinking about their particular area of interest and the ways that they can make an impact. So you don't have to be all things to all people. Specificity works in two ways. It gets the people who for whom that appeals ready to take action, and you get those other people for whom the specificity helps them to start thinking about how they're going to take action. For Greg Wilson, I'm Jeff Stein. thank you again for joining us. We hope you're having as much fun as we are. And as always, check out the description of this video below for some more useful information and some free downloads about how you can inject more specificity into your donor testimonials and into your appeals. And please, if you have any questions or are interested in any particular topics or would like to join us, use the form below to let us know, because we want to make sure that it's not just me and Greg talking to one another, but we're but we're appealing to the curiosities and the needs of marketers and fundraisers out there, and helping you guys to get through these unprecedented times with some effective marketing communication that will help you achieve your goals and advance your missions. So again, I'm Jeff. That's Greg. Thanks for joining us. Check in next week. Take care.